Alright, here we go again.
I'm the one to avenge them. Me! Me! I'm going to defeat you!
How's it going, everybody? My name is Zarkator, and you'll notice, what do we have here? Some kind of tier list again. Oh god, remember last time when I did this? Oh, Jesus. So we're back. We're doing another tier list. Only about, how long has it been? Like 7 months later? There's been a lot of changes to the balance of Warframe. There's been a couple of new frames. And we are just on the precipice of the new war, which is going to be, as stated by DE, the biggest story expansion to the game ever. And I have trouble believing that as somebody who's been playing since the game, launched in 2013. Where, to me, the Second Dream is still the biggest expansion that has ever happened to the game. Bar none. Like Arcwing, Railjack, The War Within, The Sacrifice, nothing has really topped the Second Dream yet. I'm very excited for the new war. I don't know if it has the potential to rise above the Second Dream in any way, but whew, God knows I'm going to be making a reaction video on that when it comes out, just next month. So I thought, in preparation, maybe some people are looking for their favorite frame to bring into the new war, or something to that effect. So I thought I'd update my tier list and add in the couple of new frames, and some frames got reworked and everything. There's going to be some very different placements this time around, and to facilitate that, we've also got some different tiers. So top tier is pretty much the same. They're the meta. They're never the wrong choice for a mission. Next tier down is kind of like, they're still really good. They're even great Warframes. They're the best at what they do, or they do a specific thing that no other frame does, and therefore they're required for, the game at large. Third tier, they're niche, or they're difficult to use. They can succeed just fine, but maybe some other frames can do something similar easier, or they're just very expensive to build, something like that. Then outclassed or rare use cases, a Warframe that only really sees use in one specific mission, or one use case that is not so common or not so meta. And then a Warframe with no job, or they're bad at what they're intended to do. They really don't have a super great grasp on the things that people would use them for. And then the bottom tier, they need a rework. They need something. They need a big buff. They need something to actually make them into a viable part of the game. There's not going to be too many Warframes down here, but there is a tier below it, and there's going to be one Warframe that goes in this tier. And you guys, I think some people might already know who it is, but we'll get there when we get there. For now, we're going to go through all of these Warframes in, I guess, just in order of how they appear here. It doesn't really matter. So let's get into it. I'm gonna make a jump cut this time for every different Warframe, so it's a little bit more organized. So I'll see you guys there. Oh my god. So first things first, step one, I want to make it very clear that my intentions in making a tier list is not to rank any specific frame as, one that you should use or shouldn't use, or one that you should like or shouldn't like. Just like with my last Warframe tier list video, the point is to just delineate, which frames you might want to look into if you haven't already, or which frames, if you haven't experimented with them too much, you're probably good on that front, right? If you love a Warframe and it ends up in the needs rework tier, well then great, go to DE and tell them to buff that Warframe because they deserve it. If you hate or think a Warframe in this top tier is really bad or shitty, maybe look into some build videos, or try them out for yourself some more. This is all just kind of for the new war itself, and obviously with the new war we're getting another new Warframe as well. So the meta might drastically shift again, depending on maybe the new war adds a specific game mode that bad Warframes are fucking really good at for some reason. But either way, let's get into our first placement here. Alright, first up we got Ash. Ash Prime even. Let's see. So, you know, once again, I have not scripted this tier list. I have not made it beforehand. I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head. Some frames will move throughout the video. You know, if you want to just skip to the end and see what the final tier list looks like, you might miss some context. So I encourage you to, you know, if you have any disagreements with a specific placement of a specific frame, please go to their section and watch my explanation on why they go where they go. And, you know, hopefully we can all spread some correct information about Warframe. So firstly, Ash, I mean, he's, let's put him here. Let's be like S, A, B, C, D, E, sure, whatever. So Ash is pretty niche. He's kind of difficult to manage, but like he's definitely a competent Warframe. He's got a little bit of invisibility, which is always useful. Great armor stripping with his one augment, which is like not too big a deal in like the real game unless you're doing endurance survival for some reason, and again, that's a whole different argument for a whole different video. But you know, his 4 does great damage. You can subsume aqua blades onto him along with his invisibility. Great, you know, great little stealth crowd clear, stuff like that. There's definitely nothing wrong with Ash. I mean, he is pretty unique in what he does. No other Warframe quite, you know, can tag team with himself like Ash can. Pretty good. Then next up we got Atlas. So Atlas, you'd think because his name starts with an A, he would go in the same tier as Ash, but not really. Atlas is kind of the embodiment of this tier. He's really doesn't really have like what's Atlas's actually most useful thing in the game that he can do is if you're doing like a sortie defense where it's not like a defense pod, it's like a target walking around. The best thing in the game for Atlas to do is for 4 of them to team up and use Atlas's rock wall to box in the operatives so they don't fucking move, so you can actually defend them. That is the biggest job Atlas has in the game, and like he's technically a loot frame with his 3 augment and like pretty good CC, or you can just freeze any enemy at a moment's notice with his 3, right? But really, how much damage are you doing with his 1 that you aren't doing with, you know, weapons, especially since the galvanized mods have been added since the last time I've made this tier list? The weapon meta versus the Warframe ability meta in terms of damage and killing things and surviving is a lot different. The landscape is way steeper. So Atlas kind of loses out on all this. He should be improved. He doesn't need like a heavy fix or a rework. He just needs some big number buffs or something like that, or maybe one more good augment that really fucking puts something on him that matters, you know? He's alright. I mean, he looks really cool. I like Atlas. He's fun, I suppose, you know? Alright, next up we got Banshee, and big surprise. Last time she was kind of in like this needs a rework or a heavy fix tier. She has gone significantly up. Let's put her here. Sure, yeah. So Banshee is the embodiment of, you know, again, the game is being designed against her, but luckily, since the Sisters of Parvos have come out, and the Helminth system, the meta of it, and people actually subsuming all of their Warframes and having access to all the Helminth abilities, the meta has shifted in Banshee's favor. Turns out, her fucking sonar works on Sisters of Parvos and Kuva Liches, and also, you know, like Acolytes and the Steel Path and everything. Banshee can actually damage some of the things you would want her to damage, which is fucking insane. It's like the first time this has ever happened ever. And so, she is still just outclassed by, you know, god tier Warframes, but holy shit, she actually does something, right? Like, bring a Cedo and put Gloom on her so she can survive, and there you go. Banshee functions as a Warframe now. I'm super excited for that, because she's also just, you know, she's already really good at focus farming if for some reason you're doing focus farming or affinity farming for like a weapon in on Hydron. So shit, man, Banshee exists. Congratulations. Alright, here we have Baruch. So I think in the last tier list video he was in this definite top tier. He definitely takes care of problems And, you know, he is definitely hard to build around, kind of difficult to use. And all that is still true. I don't think Baruch has really been nerfed at all. I think just with the galvanized mods kind of enabling a lot more weapon variety in the game. You're not just, you know, swinging a melee weapon or a glaive prime specifically. Baruch kind of isn't the only option to get what he gets, right? So I'm going to put him down here next to Ashe because he is, he's very difficult to manage. He's one of the most difficult to manage Warframes in terms of, you know, balancing his survivability with his melee combo counter to make Desert Storm work. There have been some weird discoveries recently where you can use like Magus Anomaly or Zephyr's Airburst or Larva or some kind of grouping technique and put gas damage on Desert Storm or Desert Wind, whatever it's called, to really do some good AoE damage. And like that's all fine and dandy, but like you'll see that there have been some rumblings down here in the rest of the roster that kind of inform Baruch's placement in this tier. You'll see. Next up right here we got Chroma, good old Chroma. I mean, easy top tier, he's kind of the exemplary top tier. Does a lot of fucking damage, takes a lot of fucking damage. Still, he needs 2 new abilities, but like Effigy can be useful for like looting credits, if you need credits, you know, but you're using Vex Armor, you're using Elemental Ward, and you can subsume Elemental Ward onto other Warframes, which is pretty cool sometimes. It has some use cases here and there. And not to mention Chroma, some of the coolest fashion in the game. I mean, he's a fucking dragon. What more could you want, really? He's really good still, and I doubt that's going to change anytime soon. So there he goes. Who do we got here? We have Ember. So Ember is, you know, I don't think much has changed with her since the last time. She's just very good, and you know, with weapons becoming better at, especially at proccing things and or capitalizing on status ailments, I think Ember has actually gone up slightly. She's probably going to be toward the bottom of this tier, but she's definitely a good Warframe for sure. She's one of the better damage dealing Warframes. She's got pretty okay survivability still. You know, it's just she's still kind of weird with how she hemorrhages energy if you use her too well. But like, it's manageable, so there she goes. Alright, let's see here. We got Equinox. So Equinox, I gave her a lot of credit in the last tier list video. I think I put her up here. She really kind of, she'll go here, I guess. She's definitely the best at what she does, and what she does is infinite damage, but you have to build it up over time. And she's got great CC. She can put everything to sleep. She can buff your allies with some power strength or whatever. Definitely nothing wrong with her. I wouldn't say she's quite meta anymore. I mean, she's the best at like experience farming or focus farming in general, and that's kind of it. I mean, she can do other stuff just fine, but that's really where she shines. So I guess she's in this tier. There's nothing wrong with her. She's pretty good. I like Equinox. All right, we got the boy Excalibur. So this is a picture of Excalibur Prime. You're going to be seeing a picture of Excalibur Umbra over here. These are all my fashion frames, by the way, on the right. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, Excalibur is, let's have him in the niche tier. Let's put him like up, like right there is good. Definitely nothing wrong with Excalibur either. He's a great damage dealing Warframe. He's got great CC with his 2, which leads into, you know, stealth damage multipliers and everything like that. Pretty much the same as he was last time. Melee in general was nerfed just a tiny bit in terms of like blood rush multipliers and stuff like that. So he's gone down like fucking a single point in whatever points game you want to play here. Still just, you know, titular poster boy of Warframe. I think he's perfect for what he is. So he's not difficult to manage, but he is kind of niche in terms of there's just better damage dealing Warframes or better Warframes that put things to sleep, like Equinox, for example. But you know, if you're very new to Warframe and you're looking for which of the 3 to start with, I personally recommend Excalibur. But really, you know, none of them are the wrong choice anymore. And we'll get to the other 2 starters later. So let's move on. All right, I think we have our first contender for needs a rework forever. So Frost, you know, his story is a sad one. He was one of the best Warframes when the game launched in 2013. and he just has not changed at all. With the Helmeth meta progressing, we now know that if you put parasitic armor on him, it will add a lot of health to his snow globes. But either way, they cap out at 1,000,000 damage, which is like, 1,000,000 damage is nothing to sneeze at, but I mean, it's just a circle that you have to stand in, and you can't shoot into it. And then, you know, you just sit there. He's good for a defense mission, and nothing else. It's really sad boy hours out here for Frost players. And you know, one of the saddest parts about Frost is that his replacement is right here. We got Gara. So Gara fucking absolutely demolishes anything in her way. She defends anything way better than Frost does. I think you can even put parasitic armor on her for a different effect. But you know, she's got a great 2 for damage reduction and helping to defend things, and also killing things with the synergy with her 4. Excellent choice to be covered up by a Helmeth ability with her 3, and you know, her 1 facilitates the rotation of her 2 and her 4. So I mean, great defense frame, great damage frame, great tank frame. Nothing can go wrong when you're playing as Gara. She's great. Everybody loves Gara. Next here we have Garuda, and let's put Garuda here, I guess. I mean, she's kind of gonna be the bottom of this tier. She you can put Breach Surge on her to synergize with her 4, which does like an infinite kind of like gas proc without needing enemies to be grouped together. It's pretty cool, but she just has no survivability, especially when you use Breach Surge as your Helmeth choice, so you don't have like a good tank ability also. It's really just, she's very difficult to play, and even at her best, it's like, you know, you could be using almost any other Warframe. So I'll put her here because she's a lot of fun, and she, you know, she can do a lot of damage. She can function as a Warframe, but like at this point, Banshee's even better than Garuda, so it's kind of, you know, I think with a couple of, maybe an augment for her 1 could fix things. Maybe just make her 1 better at actually stopping damage, like Zephyr's 3, for example. Yeah, it's kind of a rough spot she's in right now. But you know who else is in a really rough spot? Any enemy that sees Goss. Goss is, again, you know, one of the best Warframes. He's just super fast and efficient at finishing missions, which is always what you want, right? Incredibly tanky, even tankier than Gara in some cases, and just great fucking damage. He gives you all the attack speed and reload speed and fire rate that you could ever want on any weapon. He doesn't need prime sure-footed because his 2 has, you know, CC reduction. Just great. He's so much fun. I love Goss. He's one of my mains. Now we're up to the big meatball himself, Grendel. I think, honestly, he has gone down a little bit since the last tier list. I think he was, like, somewhere up here last time. Let's put him here above Excalibur. He's difficult to manage in that, you know, as the scaling of Warframe has started to trend upward, as the Steel Path has become more important to what players are actually doing when they're playing Warframe, it's become more and more apparent that what's more important than having base survivability is being able to abuse damage reduction or iframes and such. And you know, a good example is shield gating. You know, any Warframe that can abuse shield gating to a perfect degree, which we'll get to in a little bit, can essentially survive infinitely if they just, you know, are managed super well. If the player is good enough at keeping track of their resources and their timings. Grendel, having no shields whatsoever, is kind of just like a less tanky Inaros, but he does do great damage. You know, he's got great armor strip, he's got great CC, Meatball is always fun. He's definitely not a bad Warframe by any means. It's just that he's starting to show his age, in that he, you know, in ridiculous levels of Warframe where you wouldn't have any have any point being there, like endurance survivals and such, he will fall off. And just that, you know, Warframes above him kind of won't. That's all. I mean, Grendel's great in every way. I just think he's ugly.
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
Ugly? You gotta be kidding me.
Alright, next we have, Harrow is the one for whom the bell tolls. I don't even know what that's from, but we have, let's put him right here. He's the best at what he does, and what he does is kind of helps out where he doesn't need to. Harrow's not an incredible Warframe, but like he just gives you big numbers if he can pull it off. And, you know, his problem is that your team is already doing so well at killing the enemies that he doesn't have a chance to use the enemies to buff his team. But you know, if you ever need a Harrow will be there, and he works. So he's the best at what he does, and he's very unique in what he does. And also he's got a role in Eidolons if for some reason you're doing Eidolons. So there you go, Harrow's pretty good. Okay, here we have Hildren, the shield goddess herself, and I will say, let's put Hildren here. She has one rare use case, and that use case is being fed to Helminth, because Pillage is one of the best Helminth abilities, and it makes other Warframes go much higher up on the tier list than she does, because otherwise, what does Hildren have? Like 150 base health, so if she gets hit by a Toxin proc, she's fucking dead, no matter how much you abuse shield gating. And she's got like a mid to high damage exalted weapon with her one that disables you from using, you know, better weapons. And I don't know, she stuns enemies in like a 10-meter radius with her 4. Oh boy, it's really just kind of like a shield tank that strips some defenses. You just give it to other Warframes through Helminth. So, she could probably a couple of augments might make her pretty good somehow. I don't know. We'll see. All right, next up we have Hydroid. He's gonna be, I guess, rounding out this tier list, or this tier. Let's put him above Hildren, below Garuda. I mean, he's a loot frame. He can get you some common to uncommon materials, and he's got, you know, he's invincible while he's in his 3. You know, it's just really not much Hydroid does. He's just so boring to use, but you know, if you ever need him for something, he's the best at what he does, I guess. But again, it's like a really rare use case anymore to hang out in a little loot cave and just get ferrite. You know, are you building Rhino? Invite a Hydroid to come farm ferrite with you, or plastids, or whatever. Like, sure, you know. Alright, now we have Inaros. So, Inaros, same kind of story as with Grendel, as the meta of Warframe and survivability trends upwards into the Steel Path and beyond. It's more and more apparent that, you know, not having shields is a big downside. Although Inaros is quite a bit tankier than Grendel, he really doesn't do anything else besides tank. Basically, Inaros' best use case is to put Gloom on him so that enemies around him are significantly slowed, and then build him for like range or something. But if you put maximum effort into Inaros, I'm talking maxed out Arcane Grace and Energize, and, you know, every single health mod in the game, and armor mod, and use the Operator Magus Repair, the one that gives you 25% health per second to heal with. Inaros will not die, like, ever, but, you know, he's basically just there to be a turret to shoot up Brahma, or a Kuvazar, or whatever you got, you know? I mean, he's definitely very good, but he's only good at the one thing, and, you know, Warframes up here at the top are good at least, like, 2 things. So that's where Inaros goes for now. Alright, next we have Ivara. And absolutely nothing has changed in the way of Ivara and what she does since last time. Where did I used to put her? Like niche? Let's put her like at the bottom of niche here. In fact, let's move Baruch up a couple spots. Like, there's fine. Yeah, I mean, Ivara, infinite invisibility, and, you know, stealth. And, she can make other teammates invisible with her arrows. She's the best hunter for, like, you know, captures. You know, it's Ivara. She's pretty self-explanatory, nothing wrong with her. She's pretty good. Pretty good is what Zarkator says. Cora has definitely seen some meta shifts. Her whip claw was semi-fixed. It had been hardly nerfed, and then the Zorus got nerfed and everything. But then they kind of fixed her whip claw. It's like 75 to 80% as good as it originally was. She is, you know, she's probably the best loot frame. She can replace any other loot frame in any kind of loot scenario. You know, she's got great CC and just as good damage as always. I'm gonna put her right here at best at what she does, and what she does is loot stuff and you know, have good whip claw. Whip claw's good. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Thanks. Alright, so now we have Lavos. So previously Lavos was like right here with Frost, and you know, he's very bad in general. But recently he has been given an augment for his 1, where if you hit like 4 or more enemies, it reduces your cooldowns by a certain amount of seconds. And it doesn't sound too great because like his 3 already does that, right? But the main thing is that it reduces its own cooldown. So as long as you've got 4 enemies that can take a little bit of a beating from your 1, you can spam your 1 and reset your cooldowns for your 3, perhaps throw your 3 out, reduce your cooldowns for your 4, you know, and basically Lavos kind of works at what he is intended to do now. And he can just throw out a million billion procs of whatever element you want. So if you're hard into the super endgame meta of filling enemies up with heat procs or gas procs or viral procs or whatever you want to do, Lavos, he's definitely squishy. He's definitely not a very survivable Warframe, but he can do very good damage up there with weapons themselves. But I would definitely say he's still outclassed. He's difficult to use, but I guess I'll put him above Hildren, if only for the fact that he has a very easy to decide Helminth ability to get rid of. I mean, like you put something on his 2, you don't need his 2 for anything. I don't know. There you go. That's Lavos. He's way better with his augment than he used to be, but I don't know. He's just, I mean, he's a railjack pilot. Put him in railjack, right? That's his rare use case. He's got infinite railjack abilities. There you go. Okay, let's do Limbo next. So Limbo is absolutely invincible and absolutely takes care of any mobile defense scenario in the game, no problem. It has been very, I mean, in the last few years, mobile defense has become more and more prevalent in, you know, stuff like Orphix Venom, and, you know, shit like that, or Scarlet Spear even, and you know, there's been a lot of controversy with the likes of, let's say, like Brozyme asking DE, hey, do you intend to make the entire fucking game mobile defense? And making some of the devs cry on the dev stream. That was a let's say funny moments compilation number 43 of Warframe when that happened, and hopefully DE has learned that at least put some more diversity into the game modes and the things that you want the players to do, especially in limited time events. I don't want to just sit there doing a mobile defense. Point is, let's put Limbo in the niche category because he's the niche, invincible, stop time, mobile defense Warframe. Let's have him, yeah, right here is fine. Yeah, I mean, he absolutely locks down any area. His only weakness is nullifiers, but that's only for his 4, really. I mean, you can still kill nullifiers just fine by, you know, staying away from them in the rift. But there you go, Limbo. I mean, it's definitely very good. Let's just hope they don't only make mobile defenses for him anymore. Please, God. Alright, we've got Mr. Loki, the Trickster even. Not much has changed with him. I mean, you can put Gloom on him to make him more survivable. He goes invisible. You can put Aqua Blades on him, and then he does a lot of slash procs, which can be useful. So let's put him here. Yeah, he's bad at his intended job, which is to be a trickster that disables enemies. I mean, we have Banshee for that. We have Limbo for that. You know, we have Gara for that. All kinds of stuff. We have Equinox for that. Loki is just very not a great place. He definitely needs something. I would say he needs to rework, but I don't know. He's just seems like he just needs a whole new job. I don't know. I am proud to report that Mag is not the Warframe that is going in this her own tier like last time. She has had some significant meta shifts in terms of a lot more weapons working with her too, and you know, shields becoming more prominent in survivability. She functions now, I would say. Let's put her like above Garuda. Yeah, I mean, she strips defenses with her shield stripping abilities, and she CCs with her 2. She can lock an area down just fine. And you got the greedy pull mag builds, which can loot all of Deimos in like 5 seconds. If you want to do that, go for it. I mean, she's definitely a lot of fun. Mag is one of my favorite Warframes. Alright, we've got Mesa, good old Mesa. So last time in the tier list video I mentioned how Mesa falls off in the steel path. Well, we've had real big buffs to guns in general with the galvanized mods and also the gun arcanes. Mesa right back up there, right back in the fucking kills anything with regulators. Survives pretty good with the 3, provides damage buffs to the team with her 2. Great subsuming slot on her 1. Nothing wrong with Mesa anymore. She is back at it again, just like Daniel with the white fans. Damn, Mesa. Oh man, we got our Lady Mirage, the probably Loki's aesthetic, but does a better job with it. Again, with the giant buffs to guns in general, especially like AoE guns like the Brahma or the Tsar or the Cedo, etc. Mirage now does way more damage than she even used to. Her biggest problem is that you can't control what the hell Eclipse does, but subsume something onto her 4 or her 2 unless you're using her augment, and she's got tools, she's got jobs for days. Let's put her here because she is the best at multiplying your weapon's damage. She times 5 to your melee weapon, times 3 to your guns, and then add on Eclipse's damage buff if you're standing in the correct amount of light. It's difficult to use, but hey, she's the best at it. There you go. We got Mr. Jelly Organs himself, Necros. We're gonna put him right there. He looks really cool, as you can see in my fashion over here. But he is a loot frame that relies on his 4 to stay alive. You kinda would just want a Hydroid, and at the point where you're wanting a Hydroid, you would want a Cora, and if you're also looking for credits, you would want a Chroma. So there's really he's just low on the supply chain for looting things in general. I mean, super fun, it's a shame, but it's really nothing left for our pal Necros. I hope he gets some kind of buff in survivability or damage output somehow. We'll see. Alright, here's where it gets a little difficult. We have our best buddy, our fire god Neja. So I'm going to put Neja where he should go, which has gone up with the improvement of weapons. we're going to put Neja kind of at the bottom of this top tier. And again, you know, in my last video I mentioned how he is usually described as fast Rhino, or fast but worse Rhino. Recently there's been some rumblings going around that he is just better Rhino now. And when we get to Rhino, I will have some choice words on this subject. Please stay tuned, because it's very important to delineate the differences between Neja and Rhino, because they seem to be doing the same jobs, but are they really? Find out more at 11. Moving on to much less controversial topics, we have Nidus. Let's have him right up with... Let's put him even way up here. Nidus has seen some significant improvements with his Prime coming out. And pretty much his meta has shifted to his Augment on his 1. If you hit like 4 enemies with Virulence or something, it gives you like a shit ton of crit chance on your primary weapon. And with primary weapons being like just as good as melee weapons now, holy shit, that's really fucking strong for a lot of different unique weapons. So Nidus, you know, being a health tank just like Inaros and Grendel is a minus, but he heals a lot faster and he has that damage. So Nidus is the best at what he does, which is health tanking. So there you go. Easy peasy. Alright, Nova, simple and clean, you know, hasn't been changed in these 8 years, but unlike Frost, who has aged like milk, Nova has aged like a fine wine. She just continues having use cases out the wazoo. Let's put her here. She, you know, Jesus. I mean, you subsume her 2 off now because her 4 is useful for things other than the damage. So you could put like, I don't know, Gloom, or even what's Zephyr's Airburst on Nova. Plenty of work she sees. Nova is great. Everybody loves Nova. Alright, so like a few days ago at the time of this recording, Nyx has had one small buff, and that is with her Assimilate Augment, where she can move around very slowly in her 4 and use her weapons and everything. She can now roll just like Mesa can in her 4 Augment. That's all she does. Her improvements have come in the form of weapons becoming better, therefore when she's invincible in Assimilate for 15 seconds because enemies drain her energy, she can do more damage that way. Let's keep her down here, but above Frost at least. Gee whiz. Oberon, really nothing different since last time. He's a great healer. Is he the best at what he does? Well, we'll see about that, but he's definitely strips some armor pretty well, heals your team, patches holes in your squad if there are any. Oberon's your guy. He's definitely not bad in any scenario. Here we have Octavia, and, you know, again, just like with Oberon, not much different. She is absolutely the best at what she does, and what she does is a little bit of everything. She's got unlimited invisibility, infinite scaling damage, infinite CC in a very wide range, generates energy with her abilities. Who the fuck thought to give her that? I mean, Jesus, Octavia should even go, like, probably... fuck it, all the way up here. I mean, shit. There's nothing wrong with Octavia. Slap Prime Sure-Footed on her, and she's fucking invincible. Nothing to do about an Octavia in the squad. Shit, you win, buddy. There you go. Do you guys like having fun? Because I like having fun with Prodia. Absolutely one of the most fun Warframes in the game. I would say she is the best at what she does, and what she does is, you know, lots of grouping damage. You should definitely subsume her 4 off and give her like Airburst or Larva or Cora's 2, whatever it's called. And you know, her 2 just fucking kills anything, and then her 1 gives her some shields, and shield gaining is really good, and also, you know, locks down an area with slash procs. And then, you know, her 3 is infinite energy, infinite ammo. What more could you want out of a Warframe? She enables arc guns. Who could imagine such a thing? It's crazy. Prodia is great. We're coming up on our final row of Warframes here. Let's have Revenant. Again, not much is different this time around. He is an Amisha, so he's kind of outclassed by most other tanks. I mean, his 3 does pretty good damage to like liches or acolytes. Let's put him here. He's just a slightly worse lich hunter than Banshee at this point. Really good tank though, excellent tank. But really, that's kind of what most of these Warframes are for up here. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot of fun, and he got that Mephisto skin. Everybody loves Revenant's fashion. I love Revenant. You love Revenant. He's not bad. He's just outclassed. That's all. Okay, I guess there's no more delaying the inevitable. Let's have Rhino in his rightful throne. Best Warframe in the game. I still contend that. But let's go into a little more detail about the Rhino versus Nezha debate. We're going to start by mentioning a very good YouTuber, Brozyme. I think I even mentioned him before in this video. Please respect Brozyme and his followers. I'm in his Discord. I'm even in his clan. I show up on his stream often. Brozyme and I are great friends. He's a great dude, but he has some opinions about Nezha that I cannot get behind. Now, you know, if you've watched my channel, I'm sure most people would think that I'm just a blind Rhino fanboy, but the fact of the matter is, yes, you have to put a lot of effort into Rhino to get him to be better than Nezha, but the bottom line is Rhino's skill ceiling is higher than Nezha's. That's all it is. Like, yes, Nezha moves faster than Rhino with his passive and with his 1. But the thing is, you know, the argument comes up in this clip shown on one of Brozyme's recent YouTube videos.
Rhino Prime, really good Warframe. Of note, people who play a lot of Rhino are going to get mad at me. Nezha is better than Rhino. Nezha does everything that Rhino does, except much better than Rhino. And what I mean by that is that you can put Roar on Nezha. Nezha is more survivable, easier than Rhino. And you can stack the 2 damage buffs and debuffs on Nezha between Nezha's 2 and Roar being over Nezha's 4 and get way more damage than Roar because they stack multiplicatively with one another. So unfortunately, Rhino is becoming less good just because Nezha has gone from being bad fast Rhino to being much better and also fast Rhino. So there's that.
That you can, so his point here is that you can stack Roar with Nezha's Chakram for very large amounts of damage. And that is true. The only thing is, like, look, you're taking away one of Nezha's other great abilities for Roar, which is already cut in half. It's only half of a real Roar. And, yes, it's stacked with Nezha's 2, and that is a lot of damage. That is a huge fucking damage multiplier. Where are you going to use that? Because Nezha's 2 doesn't work on Eidolons, it doesn't work on Orb Mothers, it doesn't work on, like, most big-bodied bosses. It's gonna work on... Does it even work on Liches and Sisters of Parvos? Even if it does, you don't need that much damage. The point about Rhino's Roar is that you can spread it to your teammates, and they can take it with them wherever for its full duration. Yes, having that at half capacity on any other Warframe is great, and the point about Nezha's 2 is that you have to throw it at every individual enemy that you want to kill. And so, like, Rhino's Roar is just having Nezha's 2 on every bullet that you fire, on every swing that you swing with your melee weapon. It's just another Nezha's 2 applied right there. It's really just a better version of Nezha's 2, you know? If you're trying to stack both of them, look what you have to do. You have to throw Nezha's 2 at an enemy, with aim, might I add. And if you're playing with a controller, that's a challenge in and of itself. but that already has taken like a second, whereas Rhino, who has roared 10 seconds before this engagement, has already killed the enemy. And then you want to stack roar on top of Nej's 2, and then you kill that specific enemy that you hit with the chakram. And look, if you use Nej's 4 to disable enemies in a small area, and then throw a chakram, it will hit way more enemies because it multiplies with Nej's 4. But just the point is, like, Rhino Roar will hit every single enemy that your weapons hit. It applies to every piece of damage that leaves your Warframe and your squad mates' Warframes. Nej's 2 only applies to the enemies it hits, and it can't hit every single enemy in the same range that your weapons can hit. So the only other argument is like survivability. Yes, Nej's Halo comes out a lot faster and absorbs damage better than Iron Skin does. But if you look at my last video, Rhino's build with Parasitic Armor, that build does take a lot of building effort. You need Arcane Tanker, you need Parasitic Armor, you need like maxed out, Umbral mods and everything like that. But again, the skill ceiling just is a little bit higher. You can get Rhino's Iron Skin over 1 million with just like 2 steps over Nej's 1 step of tapping 3 and having 30,000 points on that, which isn't even 100% damage reduction. It's just like a really big, I don't even know the percentage, probably like 97% or something like that. Neja is definitely a great tank and does great damage, but in both aspects, he's just a little bit worse than Rhino. There's really no argument to be had here. The only explanation really is just that Brozyme hasn't put in the effort to build out Rhino with Parasitic Armor and really discover the true meta of Rhino. And God, I swear I am not just a Rhino fanboy. He's not even in my top 5 favorite frames. I just recognize that, God, he's the best at doing everything in the game, right? He does just as much damage as Chroma when you consider that the damage spreads to your allies. He's the most survivable Warframe in the game because he doesn't rely on energy in the slightest. You just cast Iron Skin and you can go to the index and have 2 health and 0 energy for 10 minutes at a time. But Iron Skin keeps you alive, in any situation where another Warframe would die, Rhino survives. Bar none. I mean, Jesus. Like, I could just make a separate video on this entire topic. Point is, Neja is a great, great Warframe with absolutely no flaws. Rhino is just better than that. My God, it's really not this difficult. We're just gonna move on from here. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Please, Jesus. Okay, now that we're moving on from that shitstorm, let's have Saren. Much less controversial. She's definitely the best at what she does. Let's have her, right here. The ESO machine, the affinity, the focus machine. She's kind of the baseline for getting a lot of kills. She is probably one of the better DPS Warframes out of all of these, Nothing wrong with Saren. She's got incredible damage too. If you can focus on your builds with toxin damage and what Toxic Lash does, you can even put Roar on her to stack with Toxic Lash. It gets pretty fucked up. Saren does a lot of damage. She's actually kind of the meta pick for Profit Taker. I think even more so than Chroma or Neja too. She just has all the elements. She's like the Avatar. She's so good. Everybody loves Saren. She's also dummy thick. Don't tell anybody I said that though, except you. Okay, so now for one of our 2 new Warframes since the last tier list video. We got ourselves Sevagoth. So, here's the thing, right? In my last Warframe tier list video, I made a big point that Wukong is my favorite Warframe, okay? Turns out, when I said that I was very excited for Sevagoth, that was a very correct feeling to have, because Sevagoth is now my favorite Warframe. Where does he go? He goes probably up here. Sevagoth is great. He's also the best Warframe to feed to Helminth, even more so than Hildren, so that's why Hildren's outclassed. Oops. But I mean, fuck, Sevagoth, Jesus, right? He's 2 Warframes in one, and the second Warframe is a stand, and he also doesn't die like Inaros. He just turns into his stand, and then you kill 5 enemies for free to get a revive. God damn it, that's so fucked up, right? Sevagoth is so fucking... he's so edgy. Oh my god, I love him. Holy fuck, Sevagoth's awesome. Another benefactor of the galvanized mods and gun arcanes, Titania. She fucking does a lot more damage than she used to, and she's also, you know, the titular speed frame. She is, barring straight lines, 100-meter dashes, or prep time, Titania is the default, de facto, most common, at least fastest Warframe in the game for a lot of cases. Let's have her, like, right here. She just does incredible damage. She's pretty good at survivability. Gives pretty good buffs to her teammates. She's just got all this little shit going on with her augments and just, like, little details with her abilities that have been added over the years. Shit, she just does a little bit of everything, just like, you know, the likes of Octavia. Just fast. She's kind of like the Neja to Rhino equivalent of Octavia and Titania, sort of, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so Titania's great. Everybody loves Titania, especially her fashion. Check this out. Don't you love that fucking skin? I love that fucking skin. Next up, we got the original, the OG healer. Kind of nothing's changed since last time. Trinity is just kind of next to Oberon. I mean, it really doesn't matter which of these goes ahead. They kind of just are the same thing. I mean, Trinity is outclassed by Prodia with the infinite energy going on, especially in Railjack, where she can just put down a dispensary in front of the pilot and leave while the pilot gets infinite energy. You know, Bless is really good for, like, defense missions and for Eidolon lures and, you know, patching holes in the team, etc. She did just get a couple new augments, like, ever, like, crit chance based on, like, percentage of health healed. But unless you've got a squad of 3 Inaroses and a Trinity, it's really not as good as, like, Nidus per se. She's good, but, you know, she's the worst best Warframe. How about that? It's definitely a very good Warframe though. No sense not having a Trinity in your arsenal. There you go. Alright, so we got ourselves a cat. We have Valkyrie, so Valkyrie is definitely gonna kind of have to go on the lower end here. Let's have her, like, above. Let's put her at the top of this tier. She's just pretty good damage with her claws, I guess. But she's incredibly energy hungry. She has the whole loop where you take damage to fill up your energy bar, go into your 4 to fill up your health, and she just loops that infinitely, and she does pretty good damage in small melee range. It's really just nothing to write home about, you know. She breaks down to good tanky Warframe like Inaros with a melee weapon. But the thing is, Inaros is Inaros with any other kind of weapon too. So, like, I don't know, Valkyrie just kind of doesn't have a job. She's just very energy hungry. And, I don't know, she's definitely a lot of fun with her 1 or something. You can be like Spider-Man. But she definitely needs something. She needs a little bit of something more. Especially since her best ability, which is attack speed, is the one that gets subsumed off of her to other Warframes. They really did her like that. Yeah, man. Okay, so again, with this shit, everybody knows where I'm gonna put Vauban. You know who you are if you like Vauban. Please join me in rallying for Vauban buffs. I would like Vauban to be stronger than he is. That would be cool. Thanks. Now we got my man Volt, the Speed Warframe. Technically faster than Goss, but he's more of a CC kind of Warframe. He's great for ESO. Let's let's just have him right at the top of the niche tier, just because he's kind of budget Saren almost for like ESO. He's got a good spot in Eidolon hunting, especially for the shield phase, and that's great. Otherwise, he's fast, and his shield is very good for stopping incoming damage. And then his 4 absolutely disables enemies and will also kill a lot of enemies up to like level 80 to 100. Pretty good, you know, nothing to sneeze at. One of the starter Warframes, I'd say, I would even say he's a little bit better than Excalibur now that you can, you know, use his shield to buff up your guns more than your melee weapons. I mean, shit, right? He's the gun version of Excalibur almost. That's not really a fair comparison, but you know what I mean. Volt's good. Everybody likes Volt. Alright, finally a Warframe that nobody disagrees upon. Wisp. Probably the second best Warframe in the game. She's just the support master. More infinite invisibility than Ivara, or Loki, or Ashe, or Octavia. Big old fucking health and regeneration buffs with her 1. You know, stuns enemies like Goss's 4 with her 1 also. God, Wisp does it all. You can subsume off her 4, and then you can use Breach Surge through the helmet system and put it on other Warframes for very good effect, like Garuda, for example. Wisp is probably the most all-around useful Warframe in the game, just at support. You know, she's the support coin to Rhino's not support coin. Heads and tails, these two. Great Warframe, everybody loves Wisp. Again, she is dummy thick. So, do with that information what you will. Whatever, right? Jeez. So, I'm sad to say we have my second favorite Warframe now, Wukong. Not much has changed with him. The galvanized mods definitely made Wukong stronger, I guess. But like he's moved up exactly as much as every other Warframe has moved up in terms of, you know, your weapons are stronger now. So let's put him in like outclassed. Like let's put him in the top here. You know, he's got a turret that you can spawn and give the turret a Brahma or something, or a Kuvazar or a Cedo, and then you can hang out. He's really good, really tanky. It's kind of simple at this point. Very simple what he does. You spawn a second clone, you hang out with it. It's fun for the whole family. Wukong's great. I love Wukong. We got here Mr. Zaku himself. Geez, I wonder where he goes. Let's even put him above Sevagoth. Let's even put him above Nova. Sure. So Zaku's biggest downside is that he's pretty squishy. He does have a lot of dodge chance, but in a game like Warframe, if your dodge chance is not 100%, you're gonna need something else to survive. Good news, Octavia's Rollerball is great for survivability, and that is the ability that she gives to Helminth. So you put that on Zaku's 1, and there you go. You've disabled every enemy in range, and then you gaze to disable all of their defenses, then you cast 2 to steal all of their weapons and kill them with it. Zaku's incredibly simple, kind of hard to build, but if you got the tools, shit, man. Zaku kills shit, and he kills shit good. Everybody loves Zaku. Alright, it's finally time for the big reveal. There you go. Ureli goes in this bottom tier. She has received a total of 3 passes to her abilities since she launched. And God, she does nothing. My God, I don't even wanna... Oh. She is tanky on Marolina, like somewhat. She's about as tanky as like Grendel. And then she can only use secondaries when she's on Marolina. And then she has Aqua Blades, which is good on other Warframes that go invisible, like Ashe or Loki or Octavia or Wisp. And then what the fuck else does she even do? Her 4 spreads enemies out, which is the antithesis of everything you would want to do in a mission in Warframe. And then her 1 does, like, fucking nothing. Really is the worst Warframe right now. After 3 passes, it took Zaku 2 big passes to become really, really good, right? And then it took Lavos 1 big pass with his augment to become even viable. And Yareli, after 3 whole buffs, still is just like fucking garbage. Like, out of all of the Warframes, this is the only one that I would recommend against using. You know, I'm still of the mantra, use whatever Warframe you want. If you love Yareli for some fucking reason, go ahead. I'm not gonna yell at you. But Jesus, you're not gonna have a great time trying to use Yareli in any serious mission, in any high level mission. And consequently, as you can see on the right here, not only is my fashion not great, this particular Yareli fashion is ugly, right? I have yet to see anything better. I think she's a very ugly Warframe to boot. I do not like Yareli. Not to mention the quest to obtain her is hell. Just everything about this Warframe is fucked up. Sorry. I'm sorry for the fucking Yareli fans out there. Are you mad? I'm mad too. Let's be mad together. Jesus Christ, please make Yareli good. Like, at all. Please. On a much different note than Yareli, we have the last Warframe on this tier list, Zephyr. So, in the last tier list video, Zephyr was pretty bad. She needed a rework, and I mentioned, hey, she's getting a rework soon. Maybe she'll be alright. Turns out she's fucking more than alright. She's probably one of the best Warframes in the game now. I would put her fucking above Gara. Like, come on, right there. Zephyr is incredible now. Holy shit. Her tornadoes, you can control where they go, and they absorb damage better. And if you use gas damage on her tornadoes, the gas cloud feeds into the tornado, which feeds back into itself. So if you use any weapon with any amount of gas damage, Zephyr does fucking infinite damage. I just uploaded a little short clip about that a couple days ago. It's my last video on this channel. Oh my god, Zephyr's so good. And her 3, okay, so her 3, it reflects all projectiles, okay? That includes bombard rockets, that includes, the Ancient's hook shot that knocks you down. So the only thing that can stop Zephyr is, like, CC, so you put Prime Sure-Footed on her and that's no longer an issue, okay? There you go. So the only thing then is, like, AoE stuff, like AoE attacks, AoE damage. And basically, there's only a couple things that do that, right? Like Xmas shockwaves, like a giant firewall that some Xmases do. And you gotta be in a survival a long time for enemies to get high enough level for that to kill you, especially with shield gating. And the only other thing really is stuff that gets put on the ground, like the infested, corrosive spit that they put on the ground. Turns out Zephyr can just fucking float in the air infinitely if you hold her 1. So you cast her 3, and then you float in the air forever, and you have her tornadoes sucking up an entire room full of enemies and doing infinite damage with some gas damage. And holy shit, Zephyr is incredible. I love Zephyr so fucking much. She's the only Warframe I've used in the last 2 months. God damn it, I love Zephyr. She's so fucking good now, and her fashion is so good. Look at my fashion. This is like the coolest looking Warframe right now. God damn it, I love Zephyr. What a great way to round out the tier list, right? So let's move on to the conclusion. Jeez, God, I love Zephyr. Well, there you have it. This is the current Warframe tier list just before the new war drops. There are no big changes to Warframe balance in terms of the Warframes that are here right now. Immediately planned. The next big thing is the new war. The last hotfix has gone out until that comes out. All we know is that there's going to be a new Warframe associated with the update. I have no information on what that Warframe is. There might have been like some concept art or something, but this is the current balance of the game. again, please, please understand that this is not like this isn't a fighting game. We're not going to tournaments, and if you don't use Rhino, you're gonna drown in pools, right? You can use your rally for stuff. Nobody's gonna stop you. Some people might just question you. You can, like, God, I just want you to understand that there's some flexibility here. If for some reason you've put 9 Forma into fucking Mag, and something about her augments really works for you and how you deal with shield gating, you could put her up a couple spots. I don't know. Fuck it, right? This is just a general look at the state of all Warframes. And if you notice, like, look at the trend. Like, the top tier is the biggest tier. That's a great sign. The balance of Warframe is in such a great spot. There's only a handful of Warframes that I would say are, like, definitely needing improvement in significant ways. So, like, we're in a great spot. Do not let any of these lower tiers discourage you. Like, if you love Valkyrie, go for Valkyrie. I know there's a lot of people that love Vauban. I love Vauban even. But it doesn't change the fact that he should have something more with him, right? Nyx should have 3 other abilities that last more than 10 seconds from a primed flow pool. You know what I'm saying? Please understand what I'm saying. Please do not be mad at me for putting Frost down here. You know why he's down here. Okay, so that's the tier list. Everybody get ready for the new war. Thank you so much for watching. The next video on this channel, I have no idea what it's going to be. It might just be the reaction to the new war. I'm not much of a streamer. I'm just going to kind of record my entire gameplay of it and kind of cut it down. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. You should be excited. I will see you guys out on the star chart. See you guys later.